Hello everybody, this is Simona Mangiante for Visione TV International. Today we talk about a very discussed tragic event, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which made headlines not only in the United States but all over the world and attracted comments from presidents and prime ministers, including our Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. But how many really knew Charlie Kirk and why this tragic assassination in particular has sparked so much indignation worldwide, including by presidents and prime ministers that probably didn't even know his name until the very day before this tragic murder. Who was Charlie and what we really need to know about him to understand the magnitude of the aftermath of this event? Charlie was a young man, father of two, an activist, an evangelical Christian, but most importantly was the founder of a very successful organization called Turning Point USA. An organization backed up by not only President Trump, but many donors, billionaire donors in the United States that supported the cause of spreading conservative values in universities. I knew Charlie attended this fundraising in Mar-a-Lago multiple times. I remember only last year, on the occasion of his December gala, I was able to raise in one night $21 million. This gives you the magnitude of the support system behind his voice. So Charlie was not simply a young man talking and debating liberals in a campus university in the United States. He was President Trump's closest ally among the youths. It was someone who actually helped incredibly President Trump campaign in the last campaign in winning his election. It was a big part of this. And he was, of course, an advocate against abortion. It was promoting common sense when it comes to gender identity. He didn't believe in any gender fluidity, only believed that two genders exist, which is men and women. But for some odd reasons, for some very polarized environment in the United States, among the most liberal circles, this simple common sense statement had been perceived as hateful. Now, what we know about his assassin. His assassin is an homosexual, allegedly, his alleged assassin is an homosexual who lived with a trans woman and who made multiple time remarks about trying to distance himself for whatever Charlie Kirk was preaching, developing hatred toward this type of conservative outlook over society. But what really is the situation here? Are we portraying this assassination as somehow the reflection of an incredibly polarized United States, where even among the youngest, political disagreement turned into bloody assassinations? Is that the Second Amendment that allow everybody to have weapons to protect themselves utilized to kill people in mass shootings, or political violence or acts of mass violence and mass are not exceptional in the United States. It's something that, as I believe we all know, is pretty ordinary. Of course, for most of the supporters of the Second Amendment, guns doesn't mean anything because you can commit a crime in many other ways. And actually, the same Charlie Kirk was a big defender of the Second Amendment. But gun violence, which is exactly the issue was discussing, and the really tragic moment of his death, is actually one of the weapons, one of the tools that these polarized fanatics utilize when it comes to eliminate whoever they decide for some reasons that they shouldn't have a voice. But this is only this is official. Besides the official narrative, which is probably the legitimate one, there are many voices in the United States, including Candace Owen and prominent influencers and with millions of followers, and also a friend of Charlie Kirk and part of the board of Turning Point USA, along with another prominent journalist like Tucker Carlson, who was a former anchor of Fox News, who actually highlighted how besides this official narrative, there is something more to this assassination. There is something that's shady. There is something that doesn't add up. Some call this conspiracy theories. Some other believe that many questions haven't been answered. We have to make one point, which is important to understand. Charlie Kirk was not simply a political influencer and activist. He was President Trump, one of the President Trump's closest allies, and a founder of an incredibly lucrative organization that made $100 million a year. Charlie's voice was boosted to the level to attract influence beyond any political role. So he was not officially a politician, but was a voice, was extremely powerful, and was offered also millions of dollars for lobbying from countries like Israel. He wasn't simply a young activist. He was a successful businessman supported by the entire Trump family and who gained significant relevance. Many videos have emerged where the bullet seems to come from different direction, where odd body signs have been spotted just behind Charlie in the right before the tragic moment. The motive seems to still be questioned by the most. So the real question polarized America right now is, was that the liberal what we call an act of liberal terrorism? This is new things that is emerging, something called the liberal terrorism, or there is something more to that. Is something deeply political, and people are investigating into that. One thing is for sure, that the memorial was a very moving event, where his wife, Erica, now CEO of Turning Point USA, commemorated his legacy and highlighted all the loving and unifying message that Charlie was trying to spread. But there is also something that it's very important to understand about American culture, American society, the concept of Christianity, in particular evangelical Christianity. We are not assisting to establish the faith we live by. We assist to real religious activism, where we're trying to spread the values that are rooted to Christianity, but they are not the Christianity as we, for example, in Italy, are used to, were raised by. Some have called this MAGA Christianity, where evangelical values merge with politics, and we converge into one message that becomes overpowering, overwhelming for many people in such a diverse society like the American one, have difficulty to digest. Now, why do I say that? I say that because there are many angles to this case, and I think there are many talking points I could raise besides and beyond the simple headline, tragic assassination of a political influencer that we all agree we should not tolerate, and it's actually unbelievable. It's something that's unheard of in many of our European member states, right? We don't face this type of polarizing hatred between, mostly among the youths. We have seen terrorism from different, origins, but we rarely experience this level of violence and this misconception for human life, where we can just get rid of people and their voices by physically eliminating them. But many people now, there is a trend that says that feed off the affirmation of freedom of speech, and is, I am Charlie Kirk. Yes, I am Charlie Kirk. Everybody are Charlie Kirk, but Charlie Kirk is not simply somebody who was speaking his mind. He's also a victim of political violence. Now, there are many Charlie Kirks in war zones, including in Gaza, in Ukraine, and whose life is as worthy as the one of Charlie Kirk. So he represents, at a different level, we can all be part of a sick agenda that doesn't want us there. Now, I would like to see the power, empathy, the empathy and sympathy of the power class toward every single human life lost. Mostly when we talk about Christianity, then we shouldn't allow any endless war, any funding of wars, and definitely not neglect human deaths in the name of anything. So I would like to trigger some of your opinion about that, and understand how do you see, and please leave your comments here, how do you really interpret this tragic event, and how do you think it fits not simply in the world freedom of speech perspective, but also as a victim of political violence, and how political violence affects not only influencers, journalists, and political voices, but many civilians are victims of political violence for interests that they don't belong to them. So how much religion and politics should merge in the same speech, and how much spirituality should be something that, as much as interpreted by our own Christian values, should inspire us aside the ruling of our civil life. Thank you so much for watching. This is Simona Mangiante for Visione TV International.